Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube videos. Thank you for always coming back to check on my videos, sharing, subscribing. I thank you guys deep from my heart. Let's keep subscribing, let's keep sharing, and we'll keep learning more as we go on with our stories. So the last time I did post a video that I presented where now at this point you have done your IELTS exam, you have done your NCLEX and you have passed. So NCLEX, if you remember, we said is the licensing exam that will allow you now to practice as a registered nurse in the United States. Now here comes the IELTS. The IELTS is the English requirement where most of the people goes to British Council, and there is also another center called IDP. Because one of the requirements is that you have to have your English certificate which satisfy that you have already passed the test, just to show. And this one will happen if you are from a country where English is not your first language, and most of us basically that is usually the case. We usually learn English as mostly the second or the third language. So what happens now, if you are under agency, some of the agencies will prepare you to study for this exam, but most of the time you will have to do your own studies through YouTube channels. There are several YouTube channels that will teach you about English. And I want to state here that, there is a time that this issue of the English exam was, I remember there is a time Mutahi Kagwe was making actually some remarks, and it's kind of, he was making it to appear as if this is a very simple exam that you just have to go and they are asking very simple questions and you just have to answer these questions. I would want to state here that that is not usually the state of the exam. And if you happen to actually watch these videos and even try to attempt some of these tests that they give you, you'll bear with me that this exam is not as simple as it's usually stipulated. But anyway, we understand, because these people, some of them, they are speaking, they don't have that knowledge about what usually happens. But even if you were to give them the exam, they would actually, you might even be surprised to find that they're even getting the lowest score. What I'm trying to say is that this is an exam that needs adequate preparation, adequate practice, and this is the only way you're going to pass this exam. So for US, the requirement, they usually require you to get an average of 6.5 with a 7 in speaking. Unlike in each country, it's different. Like now in UK, they have a higher band of about 7 in speaking and 7 in overall. So you have to attain this now, the 6.5 in overall and 7 in speaking, for you to qualify in the process for the United States. And once you're done with the IELTS exam, so this is where now you begin what we call the visa screening process. So remember, we said you went to the verification of the documents. Your documents were verified by an agency called CGFNS, which is a United States agency that it's a body that is trusted to check on this exam, do the evaluation and all those things. So once your documents are verified, you've done the exam, you've done the IELTS exam, and now you're at this point where now you're preparing for the visa screening. Visa screening now comes into just check whether you already have all the documents that are needed now for you to practice as a nurse, or whichever, if you say maybe you're coming as a teacher maybe, or whichever career that you're coming to practice. So what this body now at this point will do is to now just check on your documents, say you've done the NCLEX exam, you've passed, or maybe you've done the exam body for your career. And once they say that you've passed, you've got all the documents, then now this is the time that you go for the scheduling of the interview. So basically this visa screening will also be done by the CGFNS. And here you also have to spend some money. If you're under agency, again, they'll pay for you this amount. But either way, even if they pay for you and you have got a family, you'll still have some money to part with. So they'll charge you $345, if I'm not wrong, or if there are no changes that have happened. So so the agency will pay for you this $345. So this is just for them now to do their screening and all those things, and maybe say now if you've got all the documents. Now, if you've got a family, maybe depending on the size of the family, each dependent, now the family here are your dependents, either whether you are a lady or a gentleman, whichever gender you are. Now the other people, who you are the applicant, then the others are your dependent. So you will have to pay this money for, because now the agency will pay for you, and then now you have to pay for the dependent. So if, for example, you have a family of 3, so you will pay for the 345 times 3. And so that is usually the case. So this is now to allow this CGFNS body to also do the visa screen process for your family members, that is your children and maybe your wife or your husband. And once they do their processes, and they are sure that you're good to go, you have done the exam, you have passed, because now there's nothing much they do for the dependent, because for the dependent, they're just, as the name says, they're dependent, they're just depending on you. You are the one who is coming to work, but now for them to give you comfort, you need your family to be with you. So for them, they're just beneficiaries of your application. And once they are sure that everything is okay, you're good to go, you've got all the documents to work, by this time you're already a registered nurse. It's only that you're in Kenya, but you've got your license to work in the US. So you're already a registered nurse, you're allowed to practice in the US. It's only that now you're not here. And so for them, it's just to say that this person is good to go. We have all the documents with us, and we are contented that this person is okay. So they'll give you a certificate that you need to take to the embassy, and usually this is the certificate. I don't know whether you guys are able to see the certificate. So basically, this is what they issue to you, and once they issue this certificate, now this means that you have all the documents you need. The only thing that is pending, it's for you now to go to the embassy and take these documents to them, and they verify that you have now for them it's just actually to check. You told us you have got you have met the requirements of the United States bodies, so let's just see whether you have those documents. And it's just as simple as that. But now again, it's not it doesn't happen immediately. Like now, as I said, you remember in my previous videos, I told you that I began my process in 2019 and came to the US in 2022. So some of the delays usually come in here. One, in the document preparations, in the document verifications, and the other last point is usually now you waiting for the embassy. Even as we speak now, I know there are so many nurses who are still in Kenya who are still waiting for them to get the embassy dates. And at this point now, you already declared what you call case complete. Case complete basically means that you are documentarily complete. The only thing that is keeping you is the embassy to go check the documents, and they give you a go ahead. So for you to get the embassy dates, it may take a while. And I say a while because, like now for me, it took me almost 1 year. Some people, it even takes them more than even 1 year, because I was documentarily complete by, I think, either November or December 2021. And I came in 2022. So it took me 1 year, or 1 year plus a month or 2. So for you to be scheduled, because usually you are scheduled, the interview scheduling in Nairobi, it doesn't happen in Nairobi. They just usually say that we have, in your, or whichever country that you're in, maybe you are in whichever country that you're in, what happens, the embassy, the American embassy in your country just says that we have an open vacancies. We have 10 vacancies for that we can conduct interview. And now they inform the National Visa Center, which is actually in the US. So depending on when, I've just mentioned about case complete. So depending on when you got your case complete, so there is no way if like now, for example, I completed my case, I think it's in November, I think 30th. So if I completed the case in November 30th, there is no way I can be scheduled for an interview before the person who got a case complete before me. Even if you got a case complete of 28th November, you'll still be scheduled before me. They usually follow that order. And that's why when they say they have got like 10 days, so the priority will be given to those who got the case complete maybe before you. And you have to wait for them to reach that point when now it's you. So, but you're able to track. Actually, there are several even groups. Some people even create groups. You can also keep a track on the days, the days that they are issuing. And so you're able to know that now we're in the month of August, so possibly. But actually, I would just want to be honest with you that it's difficult to predict when they are going to give you the embassy date. And remember, they usually, because now these are different kind of visas, so you can't say that now that they're giving the green card visas. And anyway, you still come under green card visa. They give you the permanent resident card, but you remember you're coming under employment based. And then there are others maybe who are going through maybe the Rotary and the other kind of visas, even visiting. So the fact that they're giving the visiting visa doesn't mean that you have you also that those guys are still, you can't complain and say now these guys are giving visiting visas and we are here waiting. No, it's not until now. It's time that you have to wait until it's time for them to give the employment based visas. And as I said, remember. I'm just talking, maybe I'm giving an example of a nurse because that's what I experienced. But there are also other professions who are still moving to the US and they have their bodies, maybe like engineers, the teachers, all those guys, they're moving also to the United States. So when they give the employment-based visa, so they also schedule depending on this case, when did you complete your case? So if, for example, you say, they may decide that you're going to give the month of maybe November and we need only 100 cases. So they'll take all the 100 cases, whether you are a nurse, whether you are an engineer, or whether you are a lawyer, they'll just schedule them depending on the dates, whoever got the dates first. So at this point, as I said, it may take some time. It requires a lot of patience. And for me, what I did, I didn't actually just stay waiting for the date. So you just continue with your normal life, go to work, whatever you're doing, don't resign, just continue with your normal life until it's your time. But just be ready because they can surprise you. Because what they do, once they schedule, they will not tell you that we'll be scheduling you an interview on maybe possibly in the next month. You'll just wake up in the morning, check on your emails and find, oh, I've got dates to go to the interview maybe in a month's time. In maybe they'll give you between 3 weeks to around 1 month, 1.5. I think maximum they can give it 2 months. So you just wake up in the morning and find that you've got dates, and you need to prepare yourself, prepare the other documents, the local documents like the police abstracts, your birth certificate. By this time they should be ready. So you have to prepare all these documents, the passports that there are dimensions that they give you that you are supposed to take for the passport that you take. So you need all these to prepare all these documents. And also remember that you also need finances to relocate. Because even if you're under agency or whether you are independent, you still need some finances to settle down. Because you remember you need to get your house, you need to get your some basics before you need to get some basics before you even get your first salary. For those under agency, you remember if you're under agency, for example, Avant, MedPro, they'll start paying you before you even start working, because they consider every time that you're doing, even if you're studying, for that time, because when you come in, they'll take you to the transition phase, and then now all this time you can't just stay without it in your spending. So they'll give you a house, so it's safe about for Avant we stayed about 5 to 6 weeks. So they give you a house for free, but now you have to cater for your meals. And you see, now that you're going to class, they have to make sure that at least you've got something to eat. So they'll pay you every hour that you are going to class. For most of the time, you go to class for about 8 hours. So they'll pay you an hourly rate, maybe not the actual rate that you should be getting when you're working, but they'll give you a minimum wage that you're able to sustain your meals, and it will also give you some money that will help you to start up your life when you move to the place that you shall be working. So I just mentioned this, that I just prepared so that by the time you're getting these dates, you just make sure that you got your finances ready. Don't overspend thinking that it may take a year for you to get it. You may be surprised to just wake up in the morning, and especially when your case complete. At the other stages, maybe you can spend the money maybe as you want, but I would advise you to start saving as early as you can. But when your case complete, just be ready for anything. They can just you can just wake up and find that you've got the dates, and now you have to you actually kind of get shocked. You start feeling it's kind of you're not even ready, and so many things happen. So start saving early. Make sure that you I wouldn't say how much you need to settle down, but you need some good money. It's individualized depending on your expenses, depending on whether you'll be relocated. Like now for me, I relocated and then my family joined me after maybe around 2-3 months. So I had already settled down. The issue maybe the other big major bills. The other major things, the agency will help you on how to undergo, maybe like purchasing a car, those things. They'll come in handy and they'll give you the offers for you to select. They'll also give you some credit card to use when you are settling down. But all this will not be enough. You need to have some small savings, small savings about maybe let me not I don't know whether I should mention this or I should not mention, but it should be Avant usually. Let me just say the one that Avant recommends. Avant usually recommends 5,000 USD, but sometimes you might need it, and actually 5,000 is for you as the applicant. Then they tell you that you need to have about 2,500 for each dependent that you relocate with. So for me, according to my experience, I would say it's good. If you have all this money, it's good. You can just come with it. But some point you may not be having all this amount. So you just have to check on your expenditure. And you might be good to go even when you don't have the exact figure that they've given you. So, but I don't want to tell you not to save. Save as much as you can, so that at least you are ready. So guys, that was all for today. We'll keep educating you. We'll keep learning more. So keep subscribing, keep sharing, and ask questions in the comment section. Feel free to ask me any question. I'll always be free to respond. Continue subscribing, guys. Like my videos and share. Thank you, guys. Let's keep winning.